Let's talk about the WNBA and the league's demise now that Caitlin Clark is no longer going to play this season. The WNBA and the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White, Amber Cox, all the way up and including, let's just keep it real, Kathy Engelbert, Adam Silver, the National Basketball Association, everybody that participated in the farce.
Caitlin Clark's season is over, and make no mistake, the WNBA has blood on its hands. From the first quad strain in May, to groin pulls in June and July, to a bone bruise in August, it wasn't bad luck. It was a slow-motion train wreck that the league watched, and allowed, to happen. Now the biggest star women's basketball has ever seen is done after just 13 games, and fans are furious. Refunds, boycotts, rage, and what's the league's official response? Silence.
Caitlin Clark, out for the remainder of the 2025 season, something we all think we knew was coming after what Stephanie White said earlier today. We couldn't be too sure until we see it for ourselves. And with this announcement from the GOAT's mouth herself, Caitlin Clark won't be returning this season, nor if the Indiana Fever make the playoffs.
How many times did we watch Clark shoved into a screen, grabbed by the jersey, flat out knocked to the floor, while refs stood frozen, eyes straight ahead, pretending it wasn't happening? Possession after possession, teams didn't just guard her, they hunted her. Double teams before she touched the ball, hands on her hips, forearms on her back, shoves off cuts. Any other league superstar gets protection. Clark got nothing. And it wasn't one team, it was the entire WNBA, taking free shots at the player single-handedly keeping the league alive.
Well, it all started last year, in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
Think about the insanity. Caitlin Clark was selling out NBA-sized arenas in Dallas, Vegas, Chicago, New York. She was the golden goose. Networks threw millions at the WNBA just to air her games. And instead of protecting that investment, refs let her get mugged off ball night after night. This wasn't just unfair basketball. It was dangerous. Those no calls turned into quad strains, torn groins, and finally the season-ending collapse that everyone saw coming, except the people paid to prevent it.
The WNBA and all the people that follow the WNBA and try to promote the WNBA don't understand that Caitlin Clark's game resonates with us. I say this every day, and every day I got to deal with somebody else dumb in the media. Caitlin Clark's game resonates because she's got flair, she's got flash, she's got style. I said this before, and I'll say this again. We saw Sue Bird's game. We saw Diana Taurasi's game. Kim Mulkey was Sue Bird before Sue Bird became Sue Bird. We've seen it. We haven't seen Caitlin Clark.
And don't forget, Clark was already limping through preseason. Reports in May said her quad was tight. Any other rookie star would have been rested. Not Clark. She was paraded out for every practice, every presser, every marketing stunt. By June, the strain became a groin injury. By July, that groin turned into a tear. And by August, it was over. She never had a chance.
And last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark can be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls.
Precautionary. That's the word the league fed fans all season. Precaution apparently meant tape her up, shoot her full of treatment, and throw her back on the court 2 nights later. Fans thought they were watching the future of the game. In reality, they were watching a body break down in real time, and the league cashing every ticket dollar before the crash.
This is on your head, Kathy Engelbert, and the rest of the WNBA Players Association executive leadership who failed to hold officials and players accountable for the barbaric style of play the Fever and Caitlin Clark have had to endure this year. Kathy, resign.
A bunch of players and coaches over the last few days have complained without being fine-worthy about officiating. I just want to see about your thoughts on if officiating is an issue and how it can be improved. Because clearly there seems to be problems or disconnect between what players and coaches feel and what officials.
I was a fan of sports for 60 years now. I know that no one's ever happy with officiating. All sports deal with it, but we're working hard to make sure we're putting the best product out on the court, and our officiating then follows that.
And don't forget, Clark was already limping through preseason. Reports in May said her quad was tight. Any other rookie star would have been rested. Not Clark. She was paraded out for every practice, every presser, every marketing stunt. By June, the strain became a groin injury. By July, that groin turned into a tear. And by August, it was over. She never had a chance.
We've got Colin Cowherd saying, you know what? Guess what I didn't talk about on my show this year? The WNBA. Guess why? He just come out and said it yesterday. Because Caitlin Clark was not playing. That's why. He said, I led my show, my biggest, largest national sports radio show in the country. I led my show with Caitlin Clark 6 times last year. I mean, you don't lead a show with anybody unless they can draw the ticket prices. The demand fell off a cliff. And it's not just the on-court product that suffers without number 22, Caitlin Clark. The entire weekend's economic opportunities have felt the fallout.
The backlash exploded. Social media lit up with refund demands, ticket cancellations, calls to boycott playoff games. All-Star Weekend in Indiana, the one the WNBA hyped as Clark's coronation, collapsed overnight. Tickets that were $200 in June were being dumped for $60 within hours of her injury news. Entire resale markets flooded with people bailing on games they'd been planning for months. That's not bad luck. That's betrayal. Sponsors, nervous. Networks, watching ratings fall the second Clark disappeared. Arenas, emptying. The league built everything on Clark's back, and then let her get battered until she broke. Now, the very business model is crumbling.
For the last 2 weeks, Stephanie White knew where this was going to end up. I would say for the last month or so, they kind of had a feeling where this was going to go. The main issue, another day-to-day injury that turns into a season ender. Another day-to-day injury that turns into a season ender. And if you don't call that a lack of transparency, I don't know what to call that. They could have easily said 2 months, 1 to 2 months. Be evaluated in the next 6 weeks. Instead, they played this day-to-day, game-time decision, probable, questionable nonsense for the last 8 weeks. And that is why fans are so pissed off for the most part. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I know if they were upfront and didn't BS us, people wouldn't be that angry at the organization, at least not as angry as they are now.
That's it for today's video. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.